Scream 6 will be coming out in less than 3 months, and we're already counting down the days until Ghostface hits the streets of New York City. The teaser has already hinted at many gory details, and the Scream franchise has kept its magic going like always. On that note, let's learn more about what's in the Scream 6 trailer. We'll also look at everything we know about the movie so far. To start with, Ghostface isn't done with the survivors just yet. It's been less than a year since Matt Bettinelli opened and Tyler Gillett's 5th film in the Radio Silence franchise. This is a turnaround we last saw in 1997's Scream 2, and it's making the horror community even more excited. We've eagerly been looking for plot lines, characters, and other tidbits on the internet since 2022 to hold them over until March, but the real meat is in that first trailer. In the 1-minute teaser trailer for the upcoming slasher movie, Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown all return to the franchise. Their characters, the 4 survivors of Scream 5, are now trying to move on after leaving Woodsboro. As the teaser says, Ghostface isn't ready to give up, even though the 4 of them are stuck on a 2 train going to Brooklyn with a sea of costumed New York subway riders. The subway car is full of excited people talking and a few people dressed as Ghostface. When the doors close, they make a ding that raises everyone's anxiety and lets them know the game has begun. By the end of the teaser, it could be clearer if they all make it to the next stop alive. Coming up, the Scream 6 trailer teases Mindy's death. Mindy is the niece of Randy Meeks, who was played by Jamie Kennedy in the first movie and gave the famous rules for how to survive a horror movie. She played this part in the requel, and if she dies in the next movie, that will make her the new Randy from Scream. If you remember, Randy died in Scream 2, so if Mindy died in the same way, it would be another callback to the first movie. Melissa Barrera, who plays one of the main characters, said the new movie would be 100 times worse than any other Scream movie. It's not hard to imagine that many people who survived the first movie might not make it through the second one. To be fair, in the past, trailers have lied on purpose to get people interested and start a conversation about the movie. This trailer shows Mindy by herself, but it's clear that the rest of the group was just there a few moments ago. The way the trailer is put together makes it look like Mindy is the victim, but there might be a twist, and she might know something about the new killer. We already know that the Scream movie killers are tied to the main characters. Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis, so Mindy has every reason to succumb to the dark side. If you remember, in Scream 2, Nancy, Billy's mother, killed Mindy's uncle, so it looks like there's enough incentive there. Lastly, we see many Easter eggs and references to other horror movies. In the teaser, we see that the group is being followed by the new Ghostface, who is hiding among the group of passengers wearing Halloween costumes, and it looks like many of these costumes have hidden Easter eggs throughout the teaser. About 20 seconds into the teaser, behind a man dressed like Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat, you can see a woman walking down the stairs dressed as Grace from Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillett's 2019 film Ready or Not. The woman imitates Grace's famous look by wearing a wedding dress with an ammo belt. At the 23-second mark of the teaser, you can see someone wearing a generic zombie skeleton mask, but the look is very similar to the costumes worn in Michael Dougherty's Trick or Treat. In that movie, Rhonda is tricked by her fellow trick-or-treaters, who get what's coming to them when the real victims of the Halloween school bus massacre are found. Right after the zombie mask comes a person in a possibly generic werewolf mask, but the mask has a similar shape and color to the wolf mask that Joseph wore in the 2014 indie horror film Creep. Behind the main characters, there's a man who is dressed as the main bad guy in Jennifer Kent's The Babadook. This is a direct reference to the first scene of 2022's Scream, in which Jenna Ortega's character, Tara Carpenter, called The Babadook her favorite horror movie and used it as an example of the elevated horror trend. Now, let's look at everything we know about Scream 6. First up, the plot is a bit unclear, but there's still a whole lot of suspense. The plot of Scream 6 could be clearer, but we have some sense of what to expect, judging by interviews and, of course, the teaser trailer. 4 people who survived the Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro to start over. We don't have much to go on here, but we do know that Scream 6 will be set in New York City, so the score is now even, with 3 movies set in Woodsboro and 3 elsewhere. In fact, the movie really plays up the fact that it takes place in New York City with this fun New Year's Day graphic that says Ghostface wants to travel more. And by going places, they mean killing more people. The fact that Kirby's station is closed and that all the lines lead to Sam are really interesting details. Even though the series is starting a new chapter, we might still see some references to the past. And we know that Sam and Tara must be 2 of the survivors, since they're the new faces of this series. The other 2 are also pretty easy to figure out. Mindy and Chad, Randy Meeks' niece and nephew, are the only other teens in the group who are still alive, so it must be them. Dermot Mulroney will play a police officer in the new cast. Samara Weaving and Tony Revolori, who played Spider-Man, have also joined the cast, but their roles are still a secret. Followed by, they're not going for the obvious in this movie. The last movie set up Sam and Tara, played by Barrera and Ortega, as the new main characters of the franchise, especially since Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis, who was in the first movie. This would make her an easy target, just like Sidney was in the first 3 movies. Sam's father was a killer, so it would have been easy for Scream to take a twist that made Sam a killer like her father. According to Matt Bettinelli Olpin, the way they looked at it was that she now knows that Billy is a part of her, and even though he will always be a part of her, she must now move on. He also mentioned that they had a version of the movie where she was still medicating herself at the end, but they all thought it would be better if she didn't. They wanted it to feel like she's not just back where she was when she first started medicating away her past, and that she can now accept Billy as a part of who she is. At the moment, the only thing we know for sure about the plot of a future movie is that it will poke fun at current horror and movie trends. Scream was about toxic fans and requels, so we'll have to see what it's about this time. Up next, the cast of Scream 6 has some OG characters. Barrera is one of many actors or actresses who will be back for the movie. She's joined by actors Jenna Ortega, Mason Gooding, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Hayden Panettiere, and the always present Courtney Cox. Gale Weathers, played by iconic actor Courtney Cox, will be the only character to appear in all 6 Scream movies. She's also the only woman who has appeared in 6 horror movies in a row. Henry Czerny and Samara Weaving will join the series with 2019's Ready or Not. Tony Revolori, who recently played Flash Thompson in Spider-Man No Way Home, Liana Liberato, and Dermot Mulroney, among many others, will join them. The movie will be directed by Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli Olpin, who came to the franchise to direct the 5th movie. James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, who wrote the 5th movie and 2019's Ready or Not, are also back as writers. Kevin Williamson, who wrote and created the original series, is also involved in this movie as an executive producer. Moving on to Scream is moving forward without Sidney. Several important characters will be back in this movie, but it looks like the OG main character, Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, will not be there. In June last year, Campbell said she would not return to the team because of problems with her contract and pay. In her official statement, she said that as a woman, she's had to work very hard to prove her worth in her career, especially with Scream. She also talked about how the offer she was given wasn't worth what she'd brought to the franchise, and now it seems like she'll just be moving on, even though the choice was super hard to make. In the end, Campbell gave a shout out to all her fans who have supported Scream since the beginning. Finally, Sidney will still be remembered in the movie. It will be the first Scream movie without Sidney, which is sad, but Courtney Cox is somehow bringing back the notorious Gale Weathers, and Hayden Panettiere is bringing Kirby back for Scream 6, which is probably the biggest treat for fans. In November 2022, Ortega told Entertainment Weekly that the movie is so gory that we might not notice Sidney's impending absence. She also promises that Sidney's legacy will still be remembered in Scream 6. Ortega said it's obvious that there are references to Sidney in the movie. According to her, this is really nice because there's still a protectiveness in the script, and that's how the actors naturally felt about her because they respect her and want the best for her. In the end, she also said that Sidney would be missed and remembered. So now, it will be interesting to see how this movie pays tribute to Sidney. That's a wrap for this video. What are you expecting to see in Scream 6? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like these. See you in the next one.